Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopijana Balaba Girivaradari. Jaya Gopijana Balaba Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Braja Janarajana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopijana Balaba Girivaradari. Jaya Gopijana Balaba Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskirtya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatin Vyasam Tato Jajamudirayed. Nasa Prayeshu Avadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyana Gyana Salakaya Chakshuru Militam Jena Tashmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Okay. Thank you all for coming. Oh my God. Today we're going to be reading Canto 3, Chapter 14, The Pregnancy of Didi in the Evening. And we're going to be focusing on on text 18. So we can start reading. We can pass the mic around. We can pass the mic around and read like 1 or 2 verses per person. No, we are going to start on, I think it's 16. Yeah, 16, and we go to 29. And our focus is 18.
O hero Vidura, Diti, being thus afflicted by the contamination of lust, and therefore poor and talkative, was pacified by the son of Marichi in suitable words.
O afflicted one, I shall forthwith gratify whatever desire is dear to you, for who else but you is the source of the 3 perfections of liberation?
As one can cross over the ocean with sea-going vessels, one can cross the dangerous situation of the material ocean by living with a wife.
O respectful one, a wife is so helpful that she is called the better half of a man's body because of her sharing in all auspicious activities. A man can move without anxiety, entrusting all responsibilities to his wife.
As a fort commander very easily conquers invading plunderers. By taking shelter of a wife, one can conquer the senses, which are unconquerable in the other social orders. O queen, of the home, we are not able to act like you, nor could we repay you for what you have done, even if you worked for your entire life or even after death. To repay you is not possible, even for those who are admirers of personal qualities.
Text 21. 22. Even though it is not possible to repay you, I shall satisfy your sex desire immediately for the sake of begetting children. But you must wait for only a few seconds so that others may not reproach me.
This particular time is most inauspicious because at this time the horrible-looking ghosts and constant companions of the Lord of the Ghosts are visible. Lord Shiva, the king of the ghosts, sitting on the back of his bull carrier, travels at this time, accompanied by ghosts who follow him for their welfare.
Lord Shiva's body is reddish, and he is unstained, but he is covered with ashes. His hair is dusty from the whirlwind dust of the burning crematorium. He is the younger brother of your husband, and he sees with his 3 eyes.
Lord Shiva regards no one as his relative, yet there is no one who is not connected with him. He does not regard anyone as very favorable or abominable. We respectfully worship the remnants of his foodstuff, and we vow to accept what is rejected by him.
Although no one in the material world is equal to or greater than Lord Shiva, and although his unimpeachable character is followed by great souls to dismantle the mass of nescience, he nevertheless remains as if a devil to give salvation to all devotees of the Lord. Unfortunate foolish persons, not knowing that he is engaged in his own self, laugh at him. Such foolish persons engage in the maintaining the body, which is eatable by dogs, with dresses, ornaments, garlands, and ointments.
Text 29. Demigods like Brahma also follow the religious rites observed by him. He is the controller of the material energy, which cause the creation of the material world. He is great, and therefore his devilish characteristics are simply imitation.
Yeah, thank you. So Kashyapa is a Muni, he's a sage, and so he's rationalizing the idea of conceiving a child in this unauspicious time, and he's sharing that with Diti, his wife. So as a Muni, he's well known in the Vedas, he knows what's happening, And Diti also knows what's happening because of is the sister of Shiva itself. So, yeah. And so as us, when we want to do something, we rationalize things and we think about them. So Kashyapa is doing the same. He was meditating and then he was approached by deities to conceive a child. And so we are now going to, oh, I forgot. We need to read the translation and the, sorry. Sarva Shramanupādāya Svashramena Kalatravan Vyasanarnavamatyeti Jala Janaryatarnavam Sarva Shraman Upādāya Svashramena Kalatravan Vyasanarnavam Atyeti Jala Janaryatarnavam. Please chant. Sarvashramanupādāya Svashramena Kalatravam Vyasarnarnarvamatyeti Jalajanaryatarnavam. Word for word. We can do this all together. Sarva, all. Ashraman, social orders. Upadaya, completing. Swa, own. Ashramena, by the social orders. Kalatravam, a person living with a wife. Vyasana Arnavam, the Atyeti, one can cross over. Jala Janahe, with cinco and vessels. Yata as, the ocean. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: as one can cross over the ocean with seagoing vessels, one can cross the dangerous situation of the material ocean by living with a wife. And you can read the purport, whoever has the microphone.
There are 4 social orders for cooperation in the endeavor for liberation from material existence. The orders of brahmacharya, or pious student life, household life with a wife, retired life, and renounced life, all depend for successful advancement on the householder who lives with a wife. This cooperation is essential for the proper functioning of the institution of the 4 social orders and the 4 spiritual orders of life. This Vedic Varnashram system is generally known as the caste system. The man who lives with a wife has a great responsibility in maintaining the members of the other social orders, the brahmacharis, vanaprasthas, and sannyasis. Except for the grahastas, or the householders, everyone is supposed to engage in the spiritual advancement of life, and therefore the brahmachari, the vanaprastha, and the sannyasi have very little time to earn a livelihood. They therefore collect alms from the grahastas, and thus they secure the bare necessities of life and cultivate spiritual understanding. By helping the other 3 sections of society cultivate spiritual values, the householder also makes advancement in spiritual life. Ultimately, every member of society automatically becomes spiritually advanced and easily crosses the ocean of nescience.
Thank you. So Kashyapa is making the point to Didi that because of her, he can practice a spiritual life. So it is said in the purports of these texts that wife can help on the material aspect of life, so that can the husband engage himself into these spiritual activities, and by doing so as a grihastha, the responsibility is to help the other orders of life, brahmachari ashram, renounced ashram. So we all go or should go through these stages through our lives, starting with brahmachari ashram. And yeah, grihasthas, when I was reading this, I was like imagining a body and grihastha being like the spine or something, and so it's like holding everything, and so that all the organs can work properly. So as renounced order and brahmachari order, they have to be engaged in spiritual life, learning and preaching almost 24/7. So they don't have a time to make an earning. So grihasthas are there so that they can help the community. And so we are talking about the ideal is that all society works like that, but in Kali Yuga right now it's not happening. So it's just very few people who is following this system, and so like what can we do? I mean, what happens when a 25, 26, 27-year-old comes to Krishna consciousness and they have not had the training of a brahmachari? So it's time for them to make a family. They have the desire to make a family, but they don't have the proper training. So that's a question, like, what is the recommendation for them? And so the recommendation should be start right now and start by chanting. So even if you don't have the brahmachari training, you should start now by chanting. And so, yeah, so now like we see society right now in Kali Yuga, men are not proper men and women are not proper women. So how can we expect to be good grihasthas if we never went through a training? So bad things can happen from there. We are talking about now a super materialistic couple. So once that sense enjoyment is off, the marriage is just going to break and divorce is going to come. So, all these desires are going to end at some point. So the ideal is that we can understand by brahmachari ashram or by association with Vaishnavas and chanting the Mahamantra that all relationships should be centered in Krishna, so that we all flourish from there. It was very cool yesterday. I was like listening to I don't know his name. He's a Swami, ISKCON Swami, and he was approaching the idea of I forgot. I forgot. Never mind. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Sorry, this is my first time giving class, and I'm kind of like crashed. Yeah. But yeah, it's very very important to give if you're a grihastha now past the level of brahmachari ashram to give back to the community and help. Because by helping like brahmacharis and all this community like maintaining their lives while they're preaching, they're studying, everybody is getting benefited from that. Grahastas are getting like immense benefit from it, and everyone, completely everyone. And it's just like a wish to I mean, that's the goal actually, to have all society following these orders, because it's not like, it's named like a caste, and it's a caste, and it's a system, but you know, I don't see it like this, you know. And that's the point that he was trying to make, I remember, is that one should be a Vaishnava before becoming a brahmachari. Like brahmachari and all these orders of lives, they're very circumstantial. Your karma has to come to a point where you are born in a family and things like that, and not everyone is like that, especially in Kali Yuga. So yeah, it's very circumstantial, and it's like, I would say it's like not really required to do it, but the most important thing again is chant the Mahamantra, read association with Vaishnavas, and that's daily. That never has to stop. So if you continue doing that and doing that, I mean, how many times we have seen the situation of a brahmachari just getting out of brahmachari ashram because he fell in love and now he wants to marry, and it's not really the situation right here. So it's against the ideal of being a brahmachari when getting in or being a part of an order of life. It's basically, as I see it, for two things, like for being a good disciple, and your Guru Maharaj is telling you, is instructing you to do it, so you do it. And the second one, it should be because of your own wish to have a spiritual prosperity. So if you aspire to advances in your spiritual life and you're young, you can do it, you should do it. But yeah, it's like, it's very circumstantial. There's a lot of like karma involved in it, and there's a lot of advancement that one can do without being part of these orders. Like right now, these orders to become a brahmachari or the brahmachari ashram is just an arrangement for people to come in and study and being part of ISKCON, being part of Krishna consciousness. But it's like before, I can see it as very established in society, but right now it's broken down. So yeah, it's very good to have this situation as a facility for spiritual people to come in. And so yeah, so, and also he's making the point of like Lord Shiva, and then I mean, the aspect of Shiva is like he's the king of the mode of ignorance, and he is all covered in ashes, and he is followed by ghosts. But I was reading I think it was one of the purports, and he's a great personality, and I didn't know, like I didn't become to know Lord Shiva like that, and his austerities and his detachment. It was said like here somewhere that he's one of the greatest devotees of the Lord because of his detachment to the material world. So we see now Kashyapa, he is like he's a Muni, he's a sage, he knows the Vedas, he knows what's happening, but he doesn't, I don't feel like he really knows like devotional service. So he's meditating, and this couple is very they're conditioned souls, just like us. And he is a spiritual, he's doing these meditations, but he lets go of this meditation when he comes approach with the idea of having children. So, and the root of the idea is coming out of lust. So I don't know if he saw this or he didn't, he was lost in his mind, but he went through this and he accepted this demand. So even knowing, he lost his intelligence and he lost his memories, and he did it anyway. So but yeah, that's a question that I had. Like I had another question that is like, because this situation, Hiranyakashipu was born, right? And without Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad Maharaj, we wouldn't have this beautiful pastime or story that is teaching us a lot of devotional service. So it's kind of weird. It's like without Hiranyakashipu, evil demon, we wouldn't have this beautiful story. And without this lusty sexual behavior, we wouldn't have this story also. So these stories are like very weird. And I also don't understand how Lord Shiva and the ghost affects the birth of a baby and the character of a baby, because when it is said here that once we conceive a baby in these times of Lord Shiva going around, is going to affect the characteristics of the baby. He's gonna become like ghostly looking, or he's gonna have like some tendencies on godless characters. So if anyone has like that answer, this is a question that I'm doing now. So if
Hare Krishna. Yeah, as far as Lord Shiva and his ghosts passing over at the sunset time, the way I heard it explained is that, see, because ghosts, they don't have a body. They're just, they're disembodied souls. So it's a very miserable situation for them because they still have material desires. They still want to enjoy, the things of this world, but they can't because they don't have a physical body. They don't have senses to enjoy sense gratification with. So it's very frustrating, being a ghost. And so the ghosts are just looking for people who are conceiving, willing to conceive at the wrong time. They're just passing through looking for, so that they can enter into the womb of a mother and get a body. So then if couples have, have intercourse at the wrong time, then one of those ghosts can be like, all right, here's my chance,
Yeah.
And they jumps in there.
Which I don't think is very intelligent, because it's like you're following Lord Shiva, and he can give you so much spiritual advancement. I just been with him. He's a great devotee. So trying to go on your way and go into a body is like separating from him if you're so close to him. So I don't think that's very intelligent.
Well, I mean, the ghosts, they're not exactly disciples of Lord Shiva.
Mm-hmm.
It's that they're creatures very much in the dark modes of
Okay.
nature. And because Lord Shiva is the Lord of the mode of ignorance, basically, he's like in charge of Tamagun. So he gives, Lord Shiva is like a very merciful, compassionate personality. Mm-hmm. So he basically takes care of living entities that nobody else wants to deal with.
Okay.
He gives shelter to them. So it's not like they're learning bhakti from him.
Yeah.
They're not open. They're just like they're too much in the mode of ignorance to really accept bhakti. God. But he just tries to give them some care and attention.
Yes, this section I didn't understand too much, so that's why I'm not touching it. So I'm just touching what I can say, which is the orders of life. So I don't know, what is the situation of the orders in life, like right now in this time, as I say, like is it always that we should have the instruction of a guru to do it, or is it always that what are the requirements to be like to start this path of like orders of life in this like system? Yeah, and it's a question like if someone knows. Yeah, what are the qualifications or requirements one has to have when he's trying to get into the orders of life, like brahmachari, grahastha?
Actually, before we go to that, I was just thinking on the point that Mother Prabhupada Priya made. Lord Shiva is like a Vaishnava, right? He said, Vaishnava nam yata Shambhu. So I'm curious why he would not give devotion to all these ghostly beings.
It's just, I mean, I'm sure he wants to, but they're just too out of it. You know, it's like when if we'll go downtown and do Harinam, book distribution, and we want to give bhakti, you know, to all the living beings, but, you know, somebody's like, you know, homeless guy lying there on the road, drunk, or whatever, you know, it's like, you want to give them bhakti, but they're just not willing, they're not prepared to accept it. So that's the situation. You can't force them. You know, even a personality as powerful as Lord Shiva, nobody can force someone else to become a devotee. You know, you can only take the horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
Is it that being just close to Lord Shiva, a great devotee, a great Vaishnava, give you a spiritual advancement?
I mean, how many people were close to Srila Prabhupada when he came? How many people, when Krishna appeared on the planet, how many people saw Krishna? You know, but there were people who saw Krishna and hated Krishna, wanted to kill Krishna.
Yeah.
There are some people that saw Prabhupada and either just ignored him or, you know, actually challenged his authority. So, yeah, it's not necessarily. Every soul is on its own journey and they have their independence.
Yeah, because I've heard like somewhere around, not from an unofficial source, but I've heard that just by seeing a devotee, you get benefits. Yeah. And so, yeah, the second, you want to add to that?
I had a question.
Okay. Yeah, you can do that right now.
I was kind of, I'm not sure I got it like all the way what Prabhupada was trying to say, but I guess maybe you could kind of break it down on...
Tries to say it on the purport? On the purport?
Yeah, on the living with how you can cross the dangerous situation in the material world by living with a wife. I understand that they can take care of your material responsibilities or your material needs, but I wasn't able to make the connect between that and going back to Godhead or escaping the ocean of
just by taking care of these like material necessities of like a conditioned soul, that helps tremendously, like tremendously. So it doesn't entangle us more, you know. Now if we have to go to work and we have to take care of everything at home, it's like you don't really will have like much time to sit down and read the shastras or meditate, you know, or you chant your rounds. So when you do all that you have to do and then you have this time to do it, it's just tremendously help.
It kind of sounds like the wife would be expected to almost be the breadwinner or take care of all the material needs, while the husband, like Kashyapa Muni, kind of just meditates there. But that seems a little like strange in modern society to promote that.
Yes.
So I'm kind of wondering, how the material needs are.
Yeah. So it's like times changed so much. Like in the past, if we go back 100 years, everyone is like super more conservative, and now just time changed, and now it's like super incredible. Like man doesn't respect their male characteristics, and woman doesn't respect their woman characteristics. Woman doesn't respect the man's characteristics, and like we go like that, and they're just like erasing into the air. So right now it's like women are like basically men also, you know. We can live just like in our very own material in a material world, right? But the idea of like going through a brahmachari ashram, or for women to chastity, you know, like learning how to naturally become more spiritual. That's the focus point. And when we do this, the cooperation in home will happen in that way, that we both get benefit from this spiritual engagement. So from the materialistic point of view, it's like I'm not saying at home, I'm not doing your things, you know. And from the spiritual point, it's like at least how I see it is like this is also part of the devotion. Krishna is here, and I'm giving my 100%, you're giving your 100%, and we are like cooperating in this because Krishna is in the center. So it is very weird from the materialistic point of view, like you're staying home and I'm the bread maker and things like that. But I do understand that point of view.
Basically, did you guys want to say something? Okay, you can say something else. You're asking, it's okay. I was going to make a joke, but I won't. You're asking, like, how does a wife help one cross the ocean of material existence?
Yeah, it's saying that she's covering his material needs, and I'm kind of wondering, like, it's almost implying that she's taking care of everything and he's just like meditating somewhere.
Yeah, well, I mean, the material needs of household life are like, it's not just earning money, but it's also taking care of the home, taking care of the children, all that. So she does all that, and she gives a lot of support to the husband also. But the main thing is that she protects him from degrading himself.
Yeah.
Because, as long as we have the material body, then sex desire is there. And Prabhupada talks about how, male psychology is that they want to enjoy with many women. And we see that, right, in the world. I mean, everybody, they have multiple partners. But if a man gets married, then there's he's restricted to one wife, and that helps him to stay on the religious path. And what was I going to say? The other thing is that you see that men who are not married, just kind of bachelors going around in the material world, they're very whimsical, they do all kinds of stuff, they don't even take care of themselves, they take risks, they get in trouble, they become criminals, whereas men who get married, as soon as they get married, they're like, okay, now I need to buckle down, I need to be responsible, I have dependents. So it actually helps men who are not very self-disciplined to become more responsible and disciplined and step up and be better humans, and it puts them on the religious path. So, and in those ways, marriage is very good for most people.
Yeah. Mostly, I will say mostly all the people, because if you have this wife that you can rely on these desires of sex, so men will not go like on the street and corrupt, other women just because of their needs. So it's supposed to clean the whole society, a good marriage.
Okay, so my wife, she has been pushing me to talk about this. That's why I was laughing. So, talking about the Shadamna Prabhu, what he asked. What comes to my mind is, our scriptures, they are contextual, they are not textual. So there is nothing black and white, like other isms, right? They are textuals. They say either this or that, either hell or heaven. So everything depends on time, place, and situation. One man's food is another man's poison. So nothing holds good, for everyone, right? So I was thinking, in our tradition, wife is addressed as a Devi. Devi means goddess. And she's also addressed as Ardhangini. Ardhangini means a better wife, a better half, right?
Yeah.
So it is said in the scriptures, if husband does something good, from spiritual perspective or from religiosity perspective, then half of the benefit is passed on to the wife.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Whatever bad wife does, the half is passed on to the husband. So from either side, she's getting benefited. So what Drishtadamna Prabhu mentioned, in that particular scenario, one particular situation, it may be so, okay, that husband is just focused on his spiritual practice, and because of certain particular situation, the setup, where wife is forced to take up the household responsibilities. Mm-hmm. In that case also, if the husband is, truly devout and he's practicing spirituality nicely, then she's definitely going to get benefited. She may not be able to attend all the, temple programs and everything, but whatever he does, half of it is automatically passed on to her.
Yeah.
So that is one particular scenario. Another scenario is, like everybody has their physical, mental needs, right? So everybody has to assess their own situation and nature. So someone who is living in the ashram and sees that he's battling with the senses, he's not able to, conquer over the senses. Like when we do fasting, right, Nirjala Ekadashi, we see some devotees, for them it's so natural and they're perfectly normal. But for some who are bothered so much by hunger, they tend to, get mad or angry at someone, and they tend to offend someone. So instead of fasting, it is, recommended for that person, better eat something instead of being offensive to others. So it depends on the situation. So any person who is in that particular setup finds that it's very difficult, to conquer over the senses or not able to control the senses, better, get into another situation where you have some facility given. It doesn't give you any license or, certificate to just open up your senses completely. So there is restricted sense enjoyment. So while doing that, it's like Prabhupada gives the analogy of, Western and Eastern civilization. Like Eastern civilization is lame and Western civilization is like blind. So blind man and lame man, they cooperate with each other. So all of us, we have some weaknesses and strengths. So wife may have some weaknesses and husband may have some weaknesses. So it's like blending, cooperating.
Yeah.
Ultimate goal is to be Krishna conscious.
Yes. To chant. And so, now he is like recognizing and deity's good qualities, and that's the reason why he accepts to have the children at this very moment. He actually says like, wait just a few seconds, but I'm not sure if they waited a few seconds or they didn't. And so, if you guys have questions.
Another point is that if you have a spouse who is a serious devotee, then you have automatic association all the time.
Yeah.
So that's one of the essential aspects of Krishna consciousness, is always staying in good association. And I've even seen in brahmachari ashrams that people who don't take advantage of the association, although it's there, they don't do so well. But if you have a serious devotee that you are working together with, then how beneficial. So that's one point of how a wife or husband can help.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It's like you can be in the orders of life and at the same time, not really do well in your bhakti, in your devotional service, or you can not be part of these orders of life, but come to the temple every day and have association with Vaishnavas, chant all more than 16 rounds. So it's very circumstantial, yeah. Any other point or questions? Yes, please.
Like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, right? Vishaya vinivartante niraharasarya. Raso varjam rasopi asya param drishta nivartate. So, doesn't mean that, someone may be battling with the senses while living in the brahmacharya ashram just because, I have the urges. That's natural.
Yeah.
But if there is higher taste, Krishna says that, although there is attraction,
Yeah.
but with the higher taste, you tend to get over it.
Yeah.
So doesn't mean just because I have the urges I should change or I should change the situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think like the idea is that one gets trained in brahmachari, and after the training he has a controlled mind. That's what I feel like, that's like what we expect. And yeah. Because it's natural, yes, sex desire is very natural. Lust lives in all of us, and we'll continue to live until we get to that point where we can control it. Any more points? No? Thank you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai. Jai.